The night I moved into my new home, I couldn't help but stare out of the window at the stunning view of San Francisco. The city lights sparkled in the distance, and it felt like a dream come true. I had worked so hard to be here, to own this four-bedroom house in the heart of Silicon Valley. When I first walked into the real estate office, the agent had looked at me with skepticism. But after reviewing my financial documents and proof of income, his attitude completely changed. I had done it. I had bought a house on my own at just 26 years old. My name is Isabella Wang, and I'm a software engineer in Silicon Valley. I graduated 4 years ago with a degree in computer science from a prestigious university. The tech industry is not easy for women, especially in a place like Silicon Valley, where men dominate most fields. But I didn't let that stop me. I worked hard and proved myself time and time again. By the time I was 26, I had reached the position of senior engineer. While my peers spent money on expensive cars and apartments, I lived modestly, sharing housing with others and saving every penny. This house was my reward for all those years of hard work and saving. It was exactly what I had envisioned. The living room was spacious, with tall windows that let in so much light. The kitchen had all the latest appliances. But the thing I loved the most was the master bedroom. It had a huge walk-in closet, an ensuite bathroom, and a balcony with a breathtaking view of the bay. It felt like a dream. I had finally achieved something I had worked so hard for, something that represented my independence and success. But just when I thought I could relax, my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice, which was usually firm and full of confidence, now sounded weak and urgent. "Isabella, we need to talk," she said. There was something in her tone that made my heart skip a beat. I immediately knew something was wrong. My parents had always been teachers. They weren't rich, but they were stable. Or at least, they used to be. My father had made some bad investments, and over the years, they had slowly drained their savings. Now, my mother told me they couldn't even afford to pay rent anymore. They were being asked to leave in 2 months. I could hear the sadness in her voice, and my heart sank. I had always known that my parents had struggled financially, but I never imagined it would get this bad. They were the ones who had always taken care of me, and now they needed me. I couldn't just turn my back on them. I didn't want to. After all, they were my family. "You can come live with me," I said before I even realized it. It wasn't planned, but it felt like the right thing to do. My parents, though, seemed relieved and grateful. They packed their bags and moved in quickly. When my parents arrived at my new home, I was surprised at how little they brought. They had sold most of their things to pay off debts, leaving behind only worn-out clothes and a few old photos. They moved into the spare bedroom, and at first, everything seemed fine. I covered the mortgage and utility bills, while they agreed to handle the groceries. We agreed on clear rules: respect my space, respect my work, and everything would be okay. It seemed like a simple arrangement, but I was wrong. In the beginning, everything was peaceful. My mother prepared meals, and my father started working on the garden. It felt nice having them around again. But soon, small things started to annoy me. My mother began to cook meals I didn't like, ignoring my dietary preferences. My father turned the TV up too loud during my video calls. It was nothing major, but it was enough to throw off my focus. I tried to ignore it, telling myself it wasn't a big deal. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The peace wouldn't last long. As time passed, the small annoyances grew. My mother spent more time in the kitchen, making meals when I wasn't home, and ignoring my wishes. My father would turn up the volume on the TV even during my important meetings. It felt like my space was being invaded. But the breaking point came one Saturday morning when my mother knocked on my office door, looking worried. "Isabella, we need to talk," she said, and the way she said it made me nervous. I immediately knew it wasn't good news. When she mentioned Brittany, my heart sank. Brittany was my 23-year-old sister. She had always been the troublemaker in our family. After dropping out of college, she had drifted through life with no clear direction. She constantly relied on our parents for help, even when they couldn't afford it. "Brittany is having problems with her boyfriend, Jonathan," my mother said. "They need a place to stay." I felt my blood run cold. I knew this wasn't just about a place to crash. It was going to be another mess. "You're not planning to let her stay here, are you?" I asked, my voice shaking. But my mother's face told me everything I needed to know. It was already decided. Brittany and Jonathan were coming to stay, no questions asked. That evening they arrived at my house. I could tell right away that something wasn't right. Brittany, as usual, was dressed in a flashy, attention-grabbing way. And Jonathan, well, he looked like trouble. His unkempt beard and slovenly clothes were a stark contrast to everything I had worked so hard to build. My heart sank when I saw how much luggage they brought with them. This wasn't just a short visit. They were planning to stay, and I wasn't consulted at all. As Brittany and Jonathan settled in, I began to feel like a stranger in my own home. They started taking over more and more space. At first it was small things: Jonathan's gaming console in the living room, Brittany's makeup scattered across the kitchen counters. But then it got worse. They used my things without asking, and my parents didn't see anything wrong with it. "She's family," they kept saying. "It's just temporary." But it wasn't temporary. This was their home now, and I was the one being pushed out. After 2 weeks, my house didn't feel like mine anymore. Brittany and Jonathan had taken over every inch of the place. Jonathan spent his days playing loud video games, disturbing my meetings and focus. Brittany took over my bathroom, leaving makeup everywhere, and using my expensive cosmetics without asking. When I complained, my parents would simply tell me to be more understanding. But I couldn't. This wasn't just a few inconveniences anymore. They were invading my space, my privacy. And the worst part was, my parents didn't seem to care. They were just happy that Brittany had come back into the fold. The tipping point came one Wednesday afternoon. After finishing an important video call, I went upstairs to check on my room, only to find my belongings scattered in the hallway. Clothes, books, even my computer accessories were all thrown around. My heart raced as I rushed to my master bedroom. And there, to my horror, I found Brittany and Jonathan in the middle of taking over my room. Brittany was pulling clothes out of my closet, while Jonathan was emptying my bookshelf. "What are you doing?" I asked, my voice trembling. Brittany looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. "We need this room," she said, like it was obvious. I rushed downstairs to find my mother, hoping for some explanation. But when I confronted her, she acted like nothing was wrong. "What is going on?" I demanded. My mother looked at me with an oddly calm expression. "Brittany and Jonathan need more space," she said. "You spend most of your time at the office. This house is big enough for all of us." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about a room. They had planned this from the beginning. They wanted to take over my life, and I had allowed them to. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling in my office, trying to figure out how I was going to fix this. My home, the one I had worked so hard to buy, was being destroyed by my own family. They didn't respect me or my space. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let them push me around anymore. I started researching how to evict squatters. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I couldn't allow my family to ruin everything I had built. I had to protect myself, my home, and my future. The next few days were filled with chaos. Brittany and Jonathan began packing their things, furious at the eviction notice I had given them. My parents, however, acted like nothing had changed. They were too afraid to confront me directly. I knew the road ahead would be hard, but I had made up my mind. I had taken a stand. It wasn't just about a room anymore. It was about protecting my life, my future, and my rights. And even though the emotional toll was heavy, I knew that it was the right thing to do. There was no turning back now.